I'm sorry, you're the only man at this table. Why are we doing separate checks? It's all women here. We got a check.
But I'm not responsible for paying everybody. I got the birthday girl.
But you invited everybody.
You invited all of us.
I didn't invite you. Ernestine invited you. Okay, I'm responsible for who I brought.
Okay, you're the only man at the table.
I'm sorry, hold on. We was all doing Russian roulette, paying with credit cards and all that. Now all of a sudden you want to split checks? We doing split checks,
That
bro?
was 2021.
Y'all
okay?
wait.
Things were different.
Not 21.
But I didn't sign up for that. Okay, there's nobody else doing
But
the...
you participate.
I know we ain't got shit. I know.
Wait a minute, y'all. Hold on. This is my birthday, for real. Don't,
Okay, well,
we're
I guess
not-
I'm mad at me because I didn't have anything.
No. I didn't get
Wait a minute, but you
It's
still
Donnie's
came.
birthday.
Wait a minute. We're not
I
doing
don't pay
this.
for nothing that I didn't get.
But you
No,
came,
but you
though.
sat
so
at
you
the
still-
table.
What? You don't pay for a seat.
Okay, well,
Yes, no.
Listen,
There's
I don't
gratuity
care.
and everything on this
I don't care how y'all
Wait,
do
I
it.
didn't order have anything. I just showed up.
Well, I'm sorry. Dave, but you always pay, like, you're the only man at the table. You're not going to pay the checks,
If it's,
seriously.
but I'm not obligated. I got my whole family.
It's $700 for this whole table, and it's my birthday.
This is your podcast co-host. This is your
only
best friend.
$700.
It's only Shan.
You being cheap.
Are you kidding me right
You're
now?
honestly being cheap right now.
Okay, first.
Yo, if that was the case, I'd have just took you out.
Are
so
you
much
being
of your
sick? Dre, are you gonna let him sit here with a whole table full of?
I really feel like it's not his responsibility, and when y'all get a husband,
I'm married.
I'm sorry. I have a...
They're all expecting his wife to have their backs and like be on like team girl and agree with their disgusting sexism. Because he's a man, it's safe to automatically assume he's going to pick up a $700 dinner. But she's like, no, we're his family. You'll understand when you get your own husbands. It's a good line. But I don't give his wife too much credit because number one, why is she friends with these awful sexist people? And number two, why did it take her so long to defend her husband? Why didn't she stand up for him? Why did she let her harpy friends just keep attacking him? If I was this guy, I would have serious words with my wife when I got home. Like, what just happened at the restaurant? That is not okay. Your friends are all yelling at me, shaming me, calling me cheap. These are your friends. It's your responsibility to protect me from that. I'm glad she stepped up at the end, but geez, it took her long enough. I mean, that clip, that is just honestly fucking insane. And what it reveals is just how extreme the female entitlement to male money has gotten. And we're getting somewhat used to it, like numb, when we see it inside relationships in contexts like this.
What's the lowest amount of money a guy should spend on a wedding ring for you?
Oh, it should be like for sure 30, 40K. Yeah. We have standards here.
Yeah, that's the standard. Would you have been a little upset if it was 10K?
Yeah, probably.
Standards. Okay. I mean, from where I'm sitting, 40 grand on a vanity object like jewelry is ridiculous. But at the very least, she's in a relationship with that guy. But these women in the first video, they're not even dating this guy. Why should he pay for them? There's nothing being exchanged. At least in a personal relationship, there is a reciprocal exchange from one gender to the other of something that is valuable. That makes sense. Lots of women marry because they want financial security, and let's be honest, lots of men marry because they want sexual security. Every guy out there wants to have a whole bunch of sex, but he's sick of hitting on drunk women at the bar. He's sick of going onto like webcam sites and looking at pornography. He doesn't want that anymore. He wants his physical release to come with a companion, with a partner, somebody that he loves. A lot of men get married with the expectation that their wife is now going to be a partner with them in releasing all of his physical needs. He anticipates sex in his marriage. He expects it. But then how do women feel about that?
There's no bigger turnoff than feeling expected to have sex with someone. So even if you do feel like, okay, yes, in a relationship, there should be a healthy amount of sex, do not ever come across to your woman like you're expecting it from them, because they're immediately going to be turned off. It almost would be better to trick yourself into thinking you're not expecting it or you don't care. And immediately, if a woman thinks you don't care if you have sex with them or not, they're going to be more turned off.
Bad news for all of you guys who thought that the need to play games ended at marriage. But isn't it interesting the double standard that's applied? If a man expects sex in a relationship, literally the one defining feature that separates it from a platonic friendship, that's too much for a woman to handle. She can't possibly deal with those expectations. Forget about fairness, forget about equality. What you need to understand about our modern culture is that when it comes to a woman expecting something from a man, that's standards. That's empowerment. But when a man expects something from a woman, it's controlling. It's toxic. It's abusive. There is a concerted push across society to frame every desire that a man has as at best unimportant and okay to be ignored, but at worst as controlling and toxic, worthy of shame and ridicule. You expect your girlfriend or your wife to have sex with you? You patriarchal misogynist, how dare you? Your job is to give a woman whatever it is that she wants and expect nothing in return. What, you think that because you're in a marriage, you can have an expectation of sexual reciprocity? Absolutely not. Unacceptable. Now, of course, you need to have consent. And of course, from a personal psychology point of view, there's a valid point to be made about having your own cup full, about not needing things from others, about being outcome independent, and that by not chasing her, you psychologically set it up so that she's more likely to chase you. And also that helping out around the house and doing chores and planning sweet gestures for her is more likely to put her in the mood. All of that's true. All that's valid. I get that. Do not strawman my argument and claim that I'm saying that women owe sex to men and that they can't say no, or anything ridiculous like that. That's bullshit, and that's a distraction away from the very real issue that does need to be discussed here, which is the gradual reframing of every male desire as somehow controlling. If you pay attention, you'll see that this is part of a wider pattern. There's an anti-male agenda playing itself out, and it's very dark. I'm going to explain this agenda in just a moment, but first, we know that sex is important to men, but there's not much point in a man focusing on his sex life if his equipment isn't working properly. Taken from the website Healthy Men, generally, erectile dysfunction is associated with aging. The older you are, the more likely you are to experience some form of it. For example, the majority of men aged over 45 have some form of erectile dysfunction, but it's much less common in younger men. Some studies estimate 8% of males aged 20 to 29 and 11% of those aged 30 to 39 struggle with it. But why is this affecting young men at all? They should be having erections 24/7. Some of it's porn addiction, some of it's bad diet, some of it's anxiety. But what's true for men of any age is that if he's going to perform, he wants to be confident that he's going to be at full mast. And if he's dealing with these issues, he might be thinking that pharmaceuticals with all of their side effects are the only solution, completely unaware that a natural alternative exists. Enter Bathmate products. These are hydro pumps that you use with water in the shower. As you pump, you draw blood into your penis, giving yourself a strong erection. This is great for penis health because as you're drawing blood into your penis, you're exercising those blood vessels, giving them an important workout. People love this product. There are thousands of 5-star reviews on their website. They're FDA inspected, they're manufactured in the UK, and they really stand behind their product. So much so, in fact, that they offer a 60-day money-back guarantee. There is really no risk. Try it out. If you don't love it, you can return it and get your money back. You can use my link for an automatic 10% discount. Okay, back to the video and explaining the dark agenda that's playing out in demonizing men for wanting sex in their marriages. Take a look at these articles written for women called "Too Much Pressure to Have Sex Can Kill Desire in a Marriage. Here's What to Do About It," and "Why Hetero Men Need to Stop Asking Their Partners for Sex." You start to pick up a pattern, especially when websites like Liberating Motherhood feature content like this. In the standard romantic relationship between a man and a woman, the man feels entitled to sex and the woman feels entitled to nothing. And if she dares to step out of line, if she acts entitled to the bare minimum, an equal participation in parenting, for example, or to not being yelled at or gaslit, he'll find some dark corner of the internet to yammer on about what an entitled bitch she is. Do you know what's most offensive, aside from the fact that feminists continue to take the worst examples of male abusers and then somehow paint that as though it represents all men? No, the most offensive thing is how dishonestly this is framed, as though men are these needy, entitled creatures with this endless list of requirements from a partner, while women are these virtuous, stoic, self-sacrificing martyrs who just give, and never expect anything for themselves. I mean, what the fuck? What decade are you living in? Does anybody out there really think that that could possibly describe modern women?
What's your expectation?
Princess treatment.
Princess treatment.
Yeah, I'm not too hard to deal with.
All right.
Like I said, the frequent dates, the going out to eat, the romantic surprises, occasionally like the flowers, you know, like making sure everything is good in the house, like if I need anything.
Sure.
Not too much.
Question for you on that. So if that's what's expected of the guy, what's expected of you?
Oh. I don't know. I never I don't know.
This is what is so frustrating about the constant attack on men for expecting sex inside their marriages. Because for so many men, it's literally the one thing that they ask for. They're happy to work hard, to provide all the money, to take on all the stress of planning for the future, to do half the chores, to do half of the parenting, to plan romantic gestures, to physically defend you. Most men are happy to do that. They understand that it's the modern era. It's not the 1950s anymore. They step up in all of these areas. Men do so much more in a household and in a relationship than they ever used to. There's never been a generation of men who've ever contributed more. And most men are happy to do it, and they have just one requirement. He does expect his partner to be physically intimate with him. He's happy to do his half of a marriage, but he doesn't want it to be a sexless marriage. And it's so bizarre and offensive that they are framing a man wanting to have sex, to be physically close to his partner who he loves, to want to be intimate with her, to connect with her, as somehow that's an expression of him being some controlling monster. He wants to relax. He wants to be close to you. He wants to have a release of all those pleasure chemicals in his brain. And he wants to do this with you, his partner, the one that he loves. And what? This makes him a bad guy, that this is what he wants? How fucking crazy is that? Sex is like the one thing that he's asking for, and then he's going to be happy. And we're going to act as though it's men who are asking for the world?
Men are so easy. All you need to do is be naked, cook food, do smiles, do sex.
I'm going to indulge my cynicism here, and I'm going to explain what I feel like is the dark truth about what is unfolding before us. I think that there is a societal push to strip men of their status of being humans. Let me explain. You think of a human as this being of dignity who has inherent worth. We respect their humanity, and we all agree that there are certain rights that they're entitled to because they're human. And for many decades, the progressive values of liberal humanism push for equality between men and women. But that seems to have been completely abandoned. We have entered the realm of female supremacy.
Do men need women?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Do women need men?
No, absolutely not.
What would society be like without men?
I think the great men stay, the trash men go. Where's the trash man? Take them out.
What percentage of men are good and what percentage are trash?
10% are good.
Yeah.
90 are trash.
Yeah.
It's like we're living in bizarro world, and what seems obvious to me, so many modern women seem completely blind to. Do they not realize that the points of view that they hold are viciously sexist? Like awful, disgusting viewpoints to hold. The way that they speak about men is entirely dehumanizing, but they don't see it. To them, it's normal, and that is what I find so terrifying. When European powers colonized the world, they justified their mistreatment of the native populations by dehumanizing them. They had racist ideologies that because, the native people had brown skin or whatever, the white Europeans were justified in just conquering them and taking them over, enslaving them or whatever. You can justify treating a human being as less than human when you have an ideology which has stripped them of that humanity. And that's what we see playing out today. That's what the sexism against men is trying to accomplish. If we convince everybody that women are full humans, but men are disgusting animals, men are trash, they're less than human, then that makes them a lot easier to exploit. We don't need to spend time feeling guilty about how horribly we're treating them. Some feminists don't even hide that this is their agenda. They are open about it. They say men have been on top for millennia, now it's women's turn. Their minds are so limited that they can't even conceive of what a genuine equality would look like. They can only think in terms of power and exploitation. The possibility of cooperation, of teamwork, of fairness, justice, actual equality is beyond them. And I'm telling you, if this agenda is allowed to play itself out, soon there will be no such thing as a male need, a male desire, a male preference. No, because only humans have needs, desires, and preferences, and men aren't human. All of those things will be rebranded and reframed as male expectations. They'll be seen as expressions of toxic masculinity. As a human, you're entitled to have needs and preferences. As a man, not so much. Is this overly cynical? Am I overstating the danger here? Am I being paranoid? My response is, I hope so. I sincerely hope that I'm wrong. But my read on the culture at the moment is that women's preferences are being elevated, celebrated, encouraged, and framed as empowering standards, and male preferences are demonized, framed as controlling, toxic, entitled. So how do we stop this? How do we reverse this course and gift men back their humanity? I'm going to spend the rest of this video explaining my strategy, and historically, my strategy has drawn a lot of criticism for me personally. You guys who know me and have watched me for a number of years, you're probably familiar with what I'm about to say, because watching me over a period of time, you get a sense of what kind of a person I am, what values I hold. For you newer guys who've only discovered me recently, you're probably going to be very surprised when you listen to how I differ from most other people in this space. But I'm going to keep on advocating for the course of action that I, in my heart, feels like is the right way to go. Anyway, I spend the rest of the video explaining all of that. If you want to have access to it, then come check me out on Patreon. What you see posted here on YouTube, these are just the shortened, abridged versions of my videos. The full-length versions of my videos are available on Patreon. So if you want access to that right now, you can get it. Just sign up at my Patreon.